let's do this. Welcome back to my channel, to those who are returning subscribers, and those who are regular viewers, thank you so much for coming through, and those who are new, thank you so much for showing up. So basically today I am just here to do just a quick sit down chat slash story time, but something that is like long overdue to speak about, right? So basically, yeah, I just wanted to touch on oh guys, I don't know, I am so nervous to talk about this. Like, I don't know, because I started it, so I might as well finish it, right? But yeah. So today I just wanted to touch on a few things that I felt in my spirit that I needed to let out, and hopefully whatever I say here, I get to be able to reach someone who is probably in the same situation or is about to put themselves in the same situation, and just to say, hey, just to nudge them and say, please just be careful, and yeah, don't allow yourself to be enveloped into things that will later be, have consequences that are dire, right? So basically what I wanted to say, okay, without rambling on and on and on, right? So I just wanted to talk about things that a Christian person or a Christian individual should avoid. Well, Christian and also a church-going person should avoid, or should be wary of, So those are the things that I'm going to touch on are things that I've personally went through, and now I feel like I'm at a stage where, or I'm at a phase in my life where I can say, okay, now I've taken this as a lesson, and in as much as it was so hard to put myself out of the that victim mentality type of thing. So instead of me putting myself in that pit, I thought to myself, let me just see it as a lesson, or just basically seeing myself as someone who has survived something that could have destroyed me to the core. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that. I'll just give you a backstory quickly of what happened or what went down, right? So I am, so from a young age, of course, when you are, please don't mind my wig, kids. I know it looks like a mess there, but I was actually, before I even put it on, I was literally thinking about reviving this thing. Like, I need to give it a fresh look. I need to figure out what to do, but we are not there. I come from a family where my family is my family is a church-going family, right? Even though we may not be the typical family that goes to church together all the time, but everyone is a believer, believes in God, and is disciplined in that sense, right? So from a young age, yes, I have been in and out. I was still trying to figure out, okay, what is this Christianity thing? I didn't, because of course you have to start somewhere. You start off as a baby Christian and then you move up, right? So you're still trying to figure out, what is this? Like, what am I getting myself into? What does it mean for me? And so forth, right? That is before I got saved. So it was during my teenage years where I started going to church, but then I started going to church even before that, like way before that, while I was still a toddler, growing up, right? I went to church. My dad used to go to church. He loved church so much. From there, when me and my mom were staying with my gran after my dad passed, I would go to church with my gran. Then from there, I would go to church. I start going to church to a different church with my mom, and then would go there very often. So yeah, then I continued. I loved how you can easily just have a family in people who are that you go to church with, right? So I went and I made it a regular thing. Before I actually started serving, right? I was just a regular congregant, and I think it was just around 2014, 2015, somewhere there, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where, okay, I was just a congregant, I was attending, and then from there, there was a point where I started having this urge, right, to actually be part of the church, because it was just the church that I go to. I'm not gonna mention the name because, well, of course, for like reason being, I don't want to cause any controversy. I don't want to stir up trouble or whatever, right? I'm not gonna mention any names, just as a disclaimer, so yeah. The particular church that I went to, I loved it. It was a huge church full of different type of people, different personalities, different characters, and so forth, right? So I would go there. As big as it is, I knew that at some point I needed to find a way of, feeling a sense of belonging in there, right? So I would, the first thing that you need to start doing is to, involve yourself in what the church does. So when you have to attend a cell group, you go attend a cell group, and then you attend classes. Then they train you in how to, be a member and how to serve and all of that, right? So I did all of that, and I was like, good. I was so fulfilled. Like, I felt right at home. Like, I'm actually serving. Like, I'm doing something impactful. So yeah, I did that. I served for, I think I started around 2016. I think 2016, if I'm not mistaken. That's where I started. And then from the after serving, there came a point where we, as a nation, we dealt with a crisis where the nation had to shut down because of COVID, right? So that's where, everything just came to a standstill. We didn't go to church anymore, and we only attended watched on sermons online and so forth, right? So during that time, things happened, right? I don't know what led me to actually losing myself to that extent, right? So I had to face this, because you are now alone, right? You are just now isolated. Not really isolated, because I did have my family with me, but you're no longer around other people who will keep you motivated or keep you, grounded, you understand? So now you are on your own. You're trying by all means to continue to pray, study the Bible, and do the best that you can in keeping up with your spiritual life, right? So I tried that for some time, and then unfortunately, I got myself involved with the wrong person, right? And yes, it's a man. I got myself involved with the wrong person, and it just so happens that the person, we went to the same church, right? So I'm thinking, okay, all right. So when I met him, I was just very, I don't know, like, I was just fascinated by him, right? That's how it started. Like, when we met, it was just like, okay, you're cool, all right, getting to know each other. Yes, it started off like as just an innocent thing, like, you just getting to know each other and so forth, right? You just talking, chatting, and so forth. So while we were talking, I don't know how things escalated. Yeah, things happened, and then you find yourself, the next thing you find yourself, you starting to go to his place. And then when you go to his place, and then of course the things that would happen behind closed doors, you know, between a man and a woman, when they are, you know, unsupervised with nobody else around, right? So at first I didn't feel comfortable about the situation. I was like, but you know, this could end badly for me. I'm not comfortable, because coming from serving, right, I don't want to lie, I was instilled with lots and lots of knowledge, like lots of training and lots of, like, they would make sure that you know how to conduct yourself as a woman, and they would make sure that you learn how to, you know, navigate the life of being a single woman, and the, you know, being involved with a man, the do's and don'ts of, you know, that. Never go to his place, especially without any other company. Never, you know, like this thing of having a crush on people, it never really ends well, especially in the Christian community. This thing of, yeah, it was just, I think, you know, like I was taught that so many times, but for some odd reason, when I was with this guy, all of that just went out the window. So this guy was like, he started initiating stuff, you know, when he starts trying to kiss you, and then, you know, and you're just like, oh, okay. And then after some time, you're like, okay. And then it's like, okay, but I'm uncomfortable, but I'm scared to say I'm uncomfortable. So that's another thing. I'm just another thing that I've learned during that situation is that I'm someone who's constantly afraid of saying no to a person, right? Like, I have those fears, and I'm literally working on them as we speak. And you know how you have to learn a lesson by going through that experience, right? In order to know that, no, you don't do that, right? You don't do that to yourself. You don't allow yourself to go through this and that, right? So I learned that lesson, that okay, it's okay to say no, and just keep it moving. So yeah, it started building up, then it became something else, right? While it became something else, what did I do? I started having this inkling that, no, man, this man might have someone in his life, right? And with me being the type of person who's like, I don't know, I just have this, constantly have this void that I would want to fill. Like, when I meet someone and they say the right things, right? When they say the right things, I completely ignore the red flags, because there's this void that, okay, I've never really been like I haven't been with a man in a while, and you know, there are some things that feel like, sure, yeah, it's a kind of a nice feeling, but it's a feeling that is not really that good for you, right? Those butterflies. And I was taught that when you feel butterflies, that's where it's like there can be that feeling. Yeah, you know, when you have butterflies, that feeling can be really bad for you, and it might not end well. I felt all those things, saw the red flags, and I still went on and on and on. When he kept contacting me to come see him, because, you know, I enjoy your company, blah blah blah, type of thing, and you start believing those things, that okay, this might be a thing, so let me see, right? And I became so smitten by him. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so wrong. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm afraid of saying no. I'm afraid of, you know, just standing up for myself and saying, you know what, this is going too far. Like, stop it right there, right? And things just got out of hand. One thing led to another, right? And then I was like, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had not done that. Right. So, and then when things went out of hand, it got to like, it was a couple of, it went on and on and on for a couple of months, right? Up until I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I cannot do this anymore. Because I was keeping it, I kept silent about it, and it was building up that, no man, this person has not really told you that he loved you. He has not said anything. He has not done anything to show you that he cares. But, you know, somehow there's something that keeps drawing you back to him, right? But I knew there was this inkling that says that, no man, like, don't do this to yourself anymore. Like, leave this guy. Like, he is not worth it, right? And I did, the worst part about it is that I didn't really even know much about him. It was just, you know, when you are with a person and then you feel some type of chemistry that is inexplicable, but you still want to know if there's anything more that you need to know about this person, that you're supposed to know about before you get involved with them. But for some reason, I just didn't not even allow myself to do research about him and just find out exactly what this guy is about. Like, why do I keep believing in this little chemistry that we have, and I allow myself to be enveloped into it, right? So it was that type of thing where, you know, I would go along with it because, all right, so he makes me laugh, and I know how to be my goofy self around him. I was like, I've never felt this way before. Like, this feeling was just suspicious. Like, it was so suspicious. Like, why? Like, why? I don't even know that guy. Like, I haven't, this guy has not even involved me in his life that much, you know. Why am I so smitten by him? Or why am I always like, you know? So yeah, that, you know, like believing in that, you know, that chemistry, you know, those butterflies in your stomach, that thing. And then there are certain ways in which he would handle me, and which I didn't like. He got to a point where you could see that, okay, this guy actually, he's after just one thing only here. Like, he does not really care much about you. He's after one thing only. When it hit me at that point, it was already too late. And after I had decided that, you know what, I'm gonna start removing myself from this person slowly but surely. Whenever he starts texting me or whatever, and then asking me to come over, I would start saying no. Or I would not really say no, but I would make up an excuse instead. So I would say, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I can't do that now. So he would let it slide, and then he would, after a few days, he would try again. And I would notice that it's a pattern where, why is it that this person always wants to see you when it's like late in the day, right? It's never really anything spectacular, like during the day, dates or whatever. Nothing like that. That's where I realized that, you know what, it, like, no, there's no way. This guy wants one thing only. He's after that thing only, right? And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna remove myself from this person, because major red flag. And I did suspect that he did have a person in his life. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna be humiliated, I'm gonna suffer, I'm not gonna allow myself to go through this, right? I'm like, I'm worth so much more, I'm worth so much better than what I'm putting myself through. So that's where I made a decision that I'm going to remove myself. I know there are some women out there. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to sound like I'm trying to bash anyone or trying to offend anyone, but I'm saying I've seen, or I've heard of women who have gone through similar things. You know, when you constantly spend time with a man, and then that man like knows how to say the right things, he keeps you, you know, like he makes you laugh, he does all those things, like he makes you feel a certain way, right? And the type of feeling that is, as I mentioned, suspicious, right? There are those women who would stay, and they would stay because even they enjoy actually doing the deed with that person, and the person would do the right things in bed or whatever. A woman would stay because of that. And sometimes that thing can be equivalent to a drug, right? So when you know that it's not good for you, but you want to keep going. And I thank God that I never allowed myself to be so attached or so tied to this person that I couldn't let go. I literally thank God that I was able to walk away. I was able to say, this is not for me. This person, there's something off about him. Then I slowly but surely, I decided to remove myself. So I think at that point, after a couple of times rejecting him constantly asking me, it was always about coming to his place. It was never anything else that is decent or anything. And I was like, you know what? There was a point where I would say to him, I would raise it with him, right? I would be like, I don't think I'm comfortable with this, because I feel like you just after one thing, you know, you just don't really care much about me, don't you? And then of course he would say, no, it's not like that. Don't think of it like that. No, I really like being with you, blah blah blah. And I was like, right. So I would remove myself and then go to a point up until he gave up, right? He just stopped. And then for some time, right, he stopped, and then I went on with my life. And I can't remember what happened at that point, but I think the restrictions, the COVID lockdown restrictions were starting to, you know, be slowly but surely lifted. Like it was, the things were starting to get a bit normal, like during that phase, right, where you were told that, okay, a few people or about 50 people or so can be able to go to church or go to a church. So it started to open up slowly but surely. So during that point, I was still trying to figure out, how am I gonna go back and face people after what happened? So that's where the self-condemnation started to kick in. It started to kick in so much that I started to have some sort of resentment towards myself, right? I was starting to feel like, oh my gosh, this is not happening. This is not happening. Like, how do I even pick up from where I left off? Like, how do I even show up again serving people after, you know, all of that, after the bad decisions, or after being that person who ignored red flags and went on to being involved with the wrong person, right? So, right, after some time, things had started going back to normal, right? It was fine. And then there was a point in my life where I was starting to be okay with the fact that I've let him go, you know. But one mistake was that I didn't bring myself to actually deleting his number and totally removing it, right? For some reason, I don't know why I kept it there. And I never texted him. I didn't really care much. Did I even block him? I don't know. But that's how bad I was. Like, I was just the most confused person. I was just the most lost person. I didn't even know what was going on with me. So I literally only deleted his, I think I might have deleted his number, but I did not really block him, right? So there was a point where I saw a text from him. He was asking me, like, he literally tried reaching out, asking me, where am I? Or something like that, how are you doing, whatever, I don't remember. And then shortly after that, I was at that point, I still had not really gone back to church. I had gone once or twice after the things had gone back to normal, right? But I was not really going regularly anymore, right? And I really started to realize that yeah, slowly but surely, I there's something that is that is just not, yeah, I'm just not at a good space. Like, I'm no longer the same person. I'm just no longer okay, right? So fine, after that point where he texted me randomly, and then I don't know if I don't know, I don't think I responded. I just ignored his text. And then shortly after that, there was a picture of him proposing to someone, right? Within the church. It was circulating. So when I saw it, I'm like, yep, it happened. It happened. I still have to go back to the same church. I still have to face the situation. I still have to face this person. At that point, like, I felt my entire, like, I was shaking like this. I was like, no. I was like, no ways. I don't know why I thought to myself, it would never get this messy and I will never feel this hurt and this broken. I don't know why I thought I would be so invincible, but it happened. So I had to deal with it. I didn't know how. I didn't know who to tell. I didn't know who to cry to. And I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna be crying to anyone, because I was there alone. Nobody else was there. Like, I had to deal with this on my own. Nobody else was there. So it's just like, how am I gonna go back? I can't say anything to my, and the thing is, I was so afraid because my mom knows, my family knows me as the person who is forever at church. And for the fact that all of a sudden, boom, things have changed. I'm skipping Sundays. I'm skipping one Sunday, and next thing I'm skipping 2 Sundays, the next thing. And I couldn't even bring myself to explaining what happened and why is it that now I have backslidden or I've fallen off completely. I was no longer the same. I knew at that very moment that I was no longer going to be the same again. I was no longer going to be okay again. The tears that I cried like, I cried, I don't know, like during that season of my life, the pain I felt, and I think the pain was mostly because I had regretted the fact that I ignored red flags and I allowed myself to be reeled into this thing, and I allowed myself to be associated and involved with someone that I did not even really know much about. I only knew who he was when he was with me, but I did not even know the type of person that he was, right? Fine. I it's fine. I was now crying about the situation, and after some time I tried reaching out to a friend. I tried reaching out to a friend. In that, this person was like literally one of the people that I trusted the most at church, right? So I reached out to her and I was like, you know what, girl, I don't like how I'm feeling. And I didn't tell her anything at that point. She didn't know anything. All that she was concerned about is, when are you coming back to serve again? I was like, okay, I'm just gonna come see you. I just need, and at that point, I did not even plan on going to see her just to talk about this. I wanted to go see her because I needed to be with her, around her, because she was one person who, like, we understood each other. Like, you know, she, as I mentioned, she was the only person, like one of the only people that was close to your church. So I went to see her because I didn't really want to be alone most of the time, because I was, oh, my mind. I went to her, and okay, we spent the day together. Then I was like, okay, you know what, let me just come right out and say it, right? After she constantly asked me, like, what's happening in your life, bruh? I had to, you know, tell it like it is. I was like, okay, this is what happened. This is the guy. This is what happened. I was like, I allowed something to happen that I knew I was not comfortable with. I deep down inside, I'm someone who feels things deeply. If I see something is wrong, or see something is off with a person, one thing that is that I completely have I disliked about myself, if I can put it that way, I would know that there's, like, I would have this strong feeling about a person that, no, there's something that is off, despite the fact that I may like you at that point, but there's something that is off about you that I don't, that doesn't settle with me, that doesn't make me feel settled, or doesn't sit well with me, about how you behave, how you talk to me most of the time, and so forth. And I chose to ignore it because I enjoyed what I was getting during that time. But up until the point where I was like, no, it's wrong, I'm uncomfortable, and I don't want to do this anymore, right? And then yeah, and I told her, and then she was like, girl, do you know who this guy is? And the most messed up thing about it is the fact that everybody, like, that's how ignorant I am sometimes. That's how ignorant I am sometimes. Like, literally, apparently everybody knows about this guy, that he's this and that, he does this and that with women, right? And I don't know, for some odd reason, I how did I end up here, and I didn't even know what this person was about and what he was really known for, right? So she said to me, girl, this guy is actually he's actually dating this person. He dated this person, and from what I could tell and what I know, he actually loves this woman too much, like this person with his entire heart. That's what I was told, and that's what I know about him, right? Yeah, that's his person, the person that he, the way. And she also told me about the day where he proposed to her, right? It was at church, and during the time I was not there, and before that, and I told you, what did he do? He texted me. I don't know why. If you were planning on proposing to someone, why are you texting me, asking me, where are you, what's happening, blah blah blah. I was like, you know what, fine. She told me about it, that okay, there's this person, they had this one huge proposal in front of everyone, and yeah, cool. At that point, when she said it again, you know, when a person says it, like confirms it and puts a stamp on it, that, dude, this is it, this is the reality. And then you are like it feels like they're someone is ripping a band-aid, like feels like yeah. So yeah, it happened, and then I could not, like, that is at the point I thought to myself, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go back to that church. I stood on that conclusion, I stood on that decision, I stood on that. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. Fine. Time went on. Oh, when I explained to her, and then we spoke about it, and then of course, because she's being a friend, trying to cheer me up and say, you know what, there are plenty of guys out there, plenty of guys in the church that you would be suitable for. I don't worry about that. You will meet someone, just continue coming through, and there are so many eligible guys there that are single. Then you, it was that type of thing, you know, that type of encouragement. And when she said that, in my head, I'm not there. Like, I'm really not there, because I'm at that, I'm just slowly but surely losing my mind still. So I'm just like, no ways, which other man would look in my direction after all of that? In as much as, yes, I mean, not nobody knows about it besides her now. Nobody knows about it, but I feel like for some reason there is this thing that it feels like it's written all over me that I've been through this. At that point, you know, that self-condemnation, you are judging yourself, you are, you know, just a lot of things that are going through you and your mind, emotionally, mentally. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, maybe these guys deserve a better woman, not me, not the person who couldn't stand on her or stand on business, who couldn't stand up for herself, to a guy who was clearly using her, but she knew, but she did not walk away on time. She walked away while it was too late. So which guy would look in my direction? That's how I started feeling about myself. That's why I thought, no man, I'm not gonna go back there. I don't think so. And yeah, I was like, I don't know. So yeah, spent the day with my friend, and then I was like, no, I don't think I want to go back home now. I just want to stay here. So I spent the night at her place, then woke up the next day when things went back to normal. I was like, I have to go face reality. There's nothing else I can do. So I went about my business, started missing out on church, like more often now. Like, it was like way too often. And then of course there are people who would be constantly, they were told that, okay, text these people or call these people or ask, when are you coming back to serve, when are you coming back, you know, because it was, they were trying to extend their courtesy of saying, you know what, we still need you to come back, you still need it, you know, that type of thing. But in my head I'm like, you don't know what I've been through. And I took it too personally, like I took it too hard. I could not recover from that. I don't know how long I cried. Like, I cried for months, and you know, like, I don't know, I could not stop crying. So the following year, then fine, I faced a much bigger curveball, right? The following year, yes, I'm on social media, boom, I'm seeing wedding photos. Okay, big wedding, celebrations, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, that was when it started to get even real. Like, no, there's, like, it started to unravel that the fact that, dude, you are the woman that he was using. Like, it did not really care about you. Like, it did not occur to me back then, but the fact that I was so slow to understand what was happening, it took me a long time to start realizing that you were just used by this person. He did not really care about you, because all he wanted, that woman that he married, is a woman that has never been touched by anyone. So he loved her so much and valued her so much that he wanted to wait for her while he was doing his thing with others, right? So that's where I learned that there are guys within the church. There are guys within the church who actually do such a thing. Like, they are there. One moment they make you feel like, okay, we like each other, blah blah blah. Then the next moment you find out that, no, this was not anything that he wanted to get involved in. He wanted full term or whatever. He didn't really care much about you. He just wanted this person. He respected her to a point where he waited. While waiting, he was getting what he wanted to get from another woman or other women. So, right, okay, life went on. I still, during the time, I was out of my mind. Like, I cried, went to sleep crying, woke up every day crying. I lost my mind. I was not okay, because it's regret mixed with self-condemnation, mixed with like, why did I not listen to my gut feeling about this guy? Why did I ignore red flags? Why did I allow myself to go through that? Why did I allow myself to lose my dignity over this person, to lose my celibacy after such with so much progress that I had made? Like, after all that I've worked on myself, I've worked on myself so much for so many years, only for me to lose it to someone who did not even care. Like, did not even care. Like, if I tell you a person does not care, that was that person. So after that, right, life went on, and I was just that person who would show up here and there at church one Sunday after I don't know how long, because I'm trying to figure out how to get back, to go back. And but it was not easy. I did not go back to serving, but I went back to being a congregant. I just showed up and then left, right? But I knew that I was constantly triggered. Like, I could not even face anyone. I could not face him. I could not face anyone. I was just not okay, right? And then up until okay, I did speak to another friend of mine about it. I told him, and I told one of the ladies that I served with. I told her about it. We met up at some point because she was concerned as well. She was like, I want to understand what is happening. Like, why do we not see you anymore? Why do you not want to come back? And I had to sit down and be honest and talk about it. So it was a matter of, okay, we sat down, prayed about it. But after that, I thought it would help speaking about it and being honest about it, praying about it, but I don't think it helped. Like, it helped for that moment, but once those people are not like they gone, they are not around you, it comes back to you. Like, you are the one who gets tormented moving forward. And it was really, really tough. Like, I knew that I was facing the biggest downfall of my life. Like, I did not know what to do anymore. Like, there was a point where I literally questioned Christianity. I was like, I'm 1 foot out the door. I cannot, like, what is this? Like, is it that there are those who are actually okay with treating someone like something to play with, and they actually get away with it? Like, nothing happens to you. Like, I'm the one I'm the one who has to face the backlash. I'm the one who has to face the punishment. I'm the one who has to go to bed crying, wake up crying. Like, you literally are the one who gets punished. And I thought to myself, at that point, I started losing the understanding of what Christianity is about. I literally was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I remember trying to figure out how to actually deal with this thing, like how to deal with my emotions, what I'm feeling, the fact that I was now depressed. I constantly felt anxious. I constantly felt like I did not really want to pursue anything anymore. I was no longer passionate about anything anymore. That's how much it affected me. I know that some people would say, no, like, it's not really that deep. But for me, I was like, I know. I looked in the mirror. I was like, this can't be me. Like, no, I did not just go through that. No, I did not. I did not. Yeah, so I felt dirty. I felt like, I don't know, like, I felt like something that is not worth anything anymore at that point. That situation, I realized that it's left me so stained. Oh, like, I felt like there was just something about me that is no longer appealing. I'm no longer the high value woman that I thought I was. Like, I started thinking those things about myself. Like, I know, Yeah. Um, so I know my story is just a bit too long, but that's what I wanted to share. And so basically, I wanted to also mention the fact that don't always believe every chemistry that you encounter with a person. And I know that it might not really make sense to many people, but there are there's some chemistry with a person, right? Some chemistry is just something that in hindsight may actually lead you to doom, to your own doom, and it may lead you to sin, and may lead you to many things that are sabotage. So you need to be careful. Don't always believe every this feeling, the butterflies in your stomach type of thing. That's why I was taught that sometimes you should be careful and always discern the type of feelings that you feel when you are with a person. And maybe because from their end they may have noticed that there are certain weaknesses that they have identified in you that are easy to manipulate to work out in their favor, which is exactly what had happened to me. Because also now, in hindsight, I can really assure you, I can tell you that I've learned the fact that I now know myself. I now know that I have certain weaknesses, and I have certain uh, things about me that I need to work on and get rid of, that are can easily make me susceptible to being manipulated or being used, right? So for instance, me being the type of person who, I didn't know this at first because I always thought that I had everything in check during the time of serving, during the time of being a regular at church. I ignored the fact that there were certain insecurities, or there were certain weaknesses, or certain things about me that could easily make someone feel as though it's easy for me to be manipulated, right? So I was that person. What I've learned was the fact that I I'm one person who could not say no, who could not stand up for myself, especially when I felt that I enjoy feeling certain things about the person. Like I've never felt this way before about anyone. And the fact that he made me feel that way, and the fact that he could see me, like he could make me laugh, he could make me feel as though it's okay for me to be my goofy self. Like we would share the most devastating thing about it is that with this person, I would always share ideas with him, like creative things or business ideas and whatever. Like he was that person who really understood where I was coming from. Whenever I would share business ideas, I always felt comfortable sharing everything with him, right? Because he's that type of person as well. He's very business minded. He's like hands on everywhere, and I also felt comfortable with him, and like the fact that, okay, this person might actually help me make things happen in life. Like that's how comfortable I was with him. He made me feel so comfortable to that extent that I I was blinded. Like I wasn't aware that this was just manipulation, right? It was just manipulation for because I found out like I found when let me just say it was like a few like sometime last year, or when I don't know, because there was a point where I would come back from church, and then I would bump into that friend of mine that I told you about, a friend of mine, and then we would catch up and be like, hey, and she's the person who would literally, she would give me the juice about what's happening at church, like this is what's happening, blah blah blah, this is the drama, blah. So when we spoke about this, my particular, like this specific situation, she would tell me that, hey, so apparently this guy, you know how you feel even more dumber, like you feel more stupid The fact that you were so ignorant that you did not even know that all the information that was about to be brought to you. So I was told that this guy, apparently he actually has a problem, like he could not control himself. Like he he's always dealt with with his sexual urges. Like he's always had that problem. Like he could not control himself. So it means that I was dealing with someone who was dealing with, he's not a demon. Nah, he's a human being, a flawed human being, but he was dealing with his own demons. So his demon was um sexual addiction. So I learned this new information like recently, and it made me feel even worse than before when I was told that, hey, this guy apparently, there are a lot of women within the church, a lot of women even probably outside the church, he would bring in and out of his house. He would do the same thing. And there are women who are actually still attached to him even now while he's married, who he makes them feel good. Like he does things that are just, so apparently he's that person, like different women. So when I realized, I'm like, no way. So it means that while I was still in the picture, he probably had those women coming in and out while I was still, I don't know. Like I was shocked, like my jaw dropped when I was told that. And to me it was new information, because at the time I was blind. I was not, I was ignorant. I did not even pay attention to what was happening, because I was not really spending much time at church anymore. So I could not even gather that information. I could not even find out about those things, because I was told that, and I felt worse. I've like it's bad enough when you know that you are that, when you find out that you are the other woman who was just played with and used for his own gain. It's worse when you find out that you were not the only one. And worse than that is that he was just doing it because of his own demons that he's dealing with. Like he did not even care about you at this point. Like, yeah, he was just thinking about what's in his pants at that point, while at the same time he has someone that he actually loves, that he wants to spend the rest of his life with, but he feels the need to bring other women into that chaotic things that he's going through in his life. So I was like, no man, I've never felt any more lower than that. Like I felt even worse about myself. Like I was never the same after that. After the new information, I was like, no ways, there's absolutely no ways that I dealt with someone who is dealing with sexual addiction, well, allegedly. And that's where I felt dirty at that point. But now I felt like this is not happening. And it made me feel worse. I was started developing resentment towards him now. Like it was no longer a matter of I'm angry at myself. Why did I put myself, like I was like, why did you not focus on the person that you want to build your life with? And yeah, but like the fact that I'm now, I know better. In hindsight, it was like a blessing in disguise to know that I'm learning the fact that there are certain things about me, there are certain insecurities, certain things that I need to deal with. The fact that I have this void of wanting to be chosen and seen and heard and loved, this void has now gotten me in this much trouble, that I need to deal with it. I need to sit down with myself and be like, hey, I rebuke you. And yeah, that's why I wanted to say, please don't ever, as a young woman, as a Christian woman, please don't ever believe in those butterflies that you feel for that person, especially a person who has never showed you any good intentions, who has never shown you who has never, you know, done anything to make you feel wanted and loved, because that could lead to a whole lot of, like, yeah, a mess, a huge mess that you would struggle to clean up, that you would struggle to get out of. This thing of having a crush and so forth, it never really works out, especially within the Christian community. It's okay to admire a person, or, you know, see a person and be like, oh, such a good person, such a nice guy, or whatever, or such a nice girl, or whatever. But it's, you know how it goes. We have protocols, we have processes, we have things that we follow, channels that we follow as a Christian, in order for to get to know a person first, minus everything else. Everything that is of pleasure, or everything needs to be ignored, needs to be forgone. Like, you can't do that. It's a no-go area. And please don't ever go to a guy's house. That is always a standard. Like, as long as it's just the two of you and no one else around, don't ever allow us, especially, especially if there's nothing that has been established that you guys are together, or it has not been acknowledged that you are with this person publicly. If they only acknowledge you privately, then there's definitely a trap. Don't ever put yourself in that situation, because it never really ends well. I can attest to that. I can attest to that. And I'm also right now, I'm living through it. Even to now, recently, the reason why I came here to speak about it is because recently, the past few weeks, I have been tormented all over again. I've been, you know, the very same emotions that I felt while that thing was still fresh, while it was still happening. I started feeling that way now, because now it's, you know, when you heal. So when you are going through healing, it's never a linear process. As you know, you will feel like you are now doing okay mentally. You have it all figured out, that you are going to heal this way, you are going to do this for yourself, you are not going to allow any man near you, you're going to tell yourself all those things, all those affirmations, up until it hits you again that you did this, you went through this, you put yourself through this, and then it starts hitting you over and over again. So unfortunately, it becomes a wound that is internal, because when you have an external wound, at least you are able to treat it, you are able to know which remedies to go for, what to do, and how to soothe it, and what to do to make it go away. Unfortunately, the one that is internal, the wound that is internal, there's nothing more devastating than having to figure out how to heal that, how to recover from that. Because now it's stuck with you, it stays with you, it stings, and it stays, and it stings, and it's not a good thing. Like, you start seeing yourself as less, as worthless, as just someone who does not deserve anything good. Even today, I still don't know how. I literally have, I've already told myself that I'm not gonna go and commit myself to serving at the church again, because I know when I go there, I know what I'm going to face. In as much as people were saying it's okay to go and face, there are some triggers that it's okay to go and face in order to heal, but I thought to myself, this is not the type of trigger that I want to go and face again, because it broke me so much that I even questioned Christianity. I questioned a lot of things. That's why I don't want to put myself through so much torment even further. It's okay for me to figure out how to, you know, find myself, maybe a new church, find a new home, find a new way of starting over. Maybe this was a sign for me to let go of the familiar, to let go of places that I've been comfortable in. Maybe it was, I took it as a sign that it was I was supposed to actually start all over again and try something new, something different. Maybe that's where I will start flourishing. That's where I will find myself again. Maybe I will be a much better woman because I'm taking away lessons, the most painful ones. I'm taking them with me, and I'm gonna start over, and I'm gonna do better, and I'm gonna teach others the things that need to be avoided. So I told myself that in hindsight, I need to look at the situation that way. And right now, I may not know where I stand right now and what's happening with me, but I know for sure that I have started again. I forced myself to go back to God again, and I forced myself to continue cultivating my relationship with God again. And man, you know, when you have those moments where you just cry out to Him and you just you just surrender just everything that is weighing heavy on you, and you just, even if you get to a point where you feel like you are mad at God for not helping you out and not just not helping you out the way that you wanted Him to. You shout, you scream, you cry, but you always just go back to the same God who you know is going to still comfort you, who you know is a God that is still going to be there for you, a God that is still a God that loves you, that does not condemn you, a God that just wants you to be a child that allows yourself to be, that you allow yourself to be disciplined, you allow yourself to be taught lessons so that you don't make the same mistakes again. And I am glad that right now I'm in a place where I'm just reaching out to God constantly, and I have not abandoned my faith. I have not abandoned, you know, the person that God wants me to be. I still believe that there's something out there for me, something great for me, a great life that I'm meant to live, and it's okay to start over. I was so afraid of letting go of what I felt was familiar to me, and the one thing that I've known, like this is the only church that I've known basically. Like, where am I gonna go? Like, what am I gonna do? Up until I stopped having that mentality of feeling as though I will not be good enough elsewhere. I can still try again, even though I'm going away with a somber heart, knowing that I allowed someone else to make me feel that way. I allowed someone else to have me coming to a point where I quit. Like I left things behind. I left people behind. I left my servanthood behind. I left everything. Like, I still feel guilty even today that I allowed someone to have so much power over me, someone who is also dealing with his own demons. And as much as I know that church, like, Christians will always reiterate the fact that church is a hospital, and people who go to hospital, it depends how well you respond to treatment. And there are people who literally rarely respond to any treatment. They will show up, praise God, like shout, raise their hands, and do whatever, serve or whatever. But the things they do behind closed doors is the complete, like, they are the complete opposite of what they portray themselves to be when they are at church. That's that's the type of person that I started seeing him as. And as much as I also have my own faults where I did not know better, I didn't really fight for myself hard enough. I didn't say no. I didn't, yeah, I didn't walk away while it was still early. I have faults as well of having a void, of constantly being desperate to feel loved, wanted, and seen. That was my fault. And this is the punishment that I have to live with. The fact that I have to leave everything behind and I have to figure out how to start over elsewhere. Well, it's not really a punishment, but it's just an opportunity to start over. But I'm trusting God. I'm praying about it every day that I will be restored, because even when I keep going back to attending church here and there, those teachings, I do take them seriously, because I did that one teaching that I was taught, that we were taught, that God is able to restore God is sovereign, has sovereign power over everything. God cannot be boxed into a certain capacity of being able to do things, of being able to change a person's life. God cannot be boxed into anything. God knows what we are going through and what He's taking us through and where we're going to end up. God knows everything, and I do not want to make the same mistake. It's about affirming yourself and just being at that point where, like, I am not going to put myself through that anymore. I now know how to identify guys who are bad news, guys who have good intentions. I now know. That's one thing for sure that I'm proud of myself of. I now know better, and I'm going to focus on what I need to do, finding a new way of starting over, serving again, just being present and just praising God every day. Like, it's really, yeah, it's not something that I could kill myself over. Like, there's a lot to still live for. Like, in as much as, yes, it still torments me even today, I still there's still thoughts of him that cross my mind here and there. There's still moments where, or a constant urge to actually cry and cry about it up until I actually say I now feel better. It's still going to be a thing throughout. Nobody said it will ever be better after a few months or a few years, but you never know when it would actually end or whatever. But all I know is right now I no longer want to feel. I don't no longer want to identify myself as that person who was used by that man, who was made to feel dirty by that man, who was made to feel like I'm not worth being a wife because of that man. I know who I'm supposed to be. Um I'm not gonna allow the past to determine my future. I'm not gonna allow things that I no longer have control over to make me feel like you're just no longer anything. I am something. I am somebody. And please, like, do whoever's watching this, like, dude, please, dude, please don't ever, like, please take it from me. It's not a nice feeling. Like, it's not nice being in that position. And yeah, I don't know what more to say, but I hope you'll allow yourself to be able to, say no to things that are against what your spirit says. Like, be be informed. Like, that's the most important thing. Be informed about the your surroundings. That's the most, like, oh, thank you, Holy Spirit. Be informed. Always be informed of about your surroundings. Like, the type of people that surround you, the type of people that you associate yourself with. Be informed about them, because it's tough out there. In as much as, this is what I wanted to say as well, you may be attending church, going to church, oh, glory, hallelujah, but it's not always a safe place like, don't, not in a bad way, but don't always consider it to be a safe space so much that you idolize people around you and you think that these people are perfect and who do the right things. They like, yeah, like, they guys, you'll see for yourself. Like, it's not always it's not always gold. It's not always, glitter. It's tough out there. Like, the things that you experience, that you might have experienced, in the worldly spaces, like people who are just ordinary people who are not necessarily believers. Those things that that typically you'll experience from them. Child, if I tell you, when you step into church, it's double. Like, you will face those things. Why? Because all those things that people go through and their flaws and everything, they'll always be justified because you are at church, and church is seen as a hospital, and hospital is a place for people to go and heal and be treated of any sickness or disease. You'll come across people who will do you dirty and will never feel any remorse. They will never feel any remorse, but just know why you are there. That's what I can give you. Just know why you are there. Focus on why you are there. Don't ever allow anyone to have any power over you. There are good people out there, and there are good people in the church, but equally there are people who just don't do good things, like they don't respond to treatment. Yes, so just be careful. Know why you are there. It's a church for healing, restoration, for experiencing the joys of fellowshipping with others, and just, praising God and just growing spiritually. It's not a place for you, your jola. It's not a place for you to have a crash. It's not a place for you to do things that are just outside of your beliefs and your discipline. It's not a place for you to explore those things. You will feel it, it will hit you, you will suffer. And those people that subject you to such, they will not be apologetic, because why? They are just patients, they are just imperfect just like you, they are just going through their own things. That's what I have to say. Like, that's all. Like, you just need to be careful. Be very careful who you associate yourself with. So love people, love everyone, because we are taught to love. Be the love that you are also seeking. Love others, but be careful. That's all I have to say. It's tough out there, guys. It's tough. Trust me, it's tough. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share today. I know it's quite a long chat, but I hope there's something that you took from this. And yeah, I'm glad that I got to share this. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. And please don't forget to like, and please subscribe. Yeah, so until next time, God bless you.